So here we have my 88 Toyota 7M-GTE. The issue that we're having is stemming from when I stripped one of the spark plug holes. I had to pull the head to have a time-cert cold-rolled steel bushing installed. And in the process of removing the head, it was necessary to remove both the exhaust and intake manifolds. And upon reinstallation, we're having some issues with the fuel injector O-rings, which you see the injectors through here, sealing properly against the fuel rail. So today I'll be removing a lot of stuff just to make sure that the O-rings are properly seated. Normally it's only necessary for the cold start injector, which you see centered right there, as well as the throttle body, which you see centered right there, to be removed in addition to the fuel feed, as well as the fuel return and the cold start injector to be removed as well to properly get to the fuel rail. But today I will also be removing the upper manifold plenum in order to get a much better angle at seating the injectors, as they've been off and on about 4 or 5 times in the last 2 or 3 days. So unfortunately, I'm also going to have to remove a bunch of other stuff, including my upper intake hard pipe, and yeah, so stay tuned for more. Here we have everything necessary, at least for my car, to remove the fuel rail. We have a 7/16 on a small ratchet here, a screwdriver for the throttle body heater lines, a 3/8 ratchet, several different extensions, as well as a flex head or U-joint, a deep socket 12mm, a short 12mm, a 17 for the cold start injector, an 8mm Allen head for the socket cap screws for the camber plate, which is unique just to my car, as well as a 12mm, a 13 for my battery, tied down to remove the negative side of it, which is actually a 1/2 inch, and the 9/16 for the nut that's on the other side of the camber plate. We also have some of the O-rings, which you can see here, and a tip trick from Mark Sherman at Vancouver Toyota, some petroleum jelly. So we're going to give that a try today to see if that keeps the injectors from leaking. And here you can see I've removed the idle speed controller already, which is held in place by these 2 short 12mm bolts. You also have the gasket, which I have repeatedly reused. Now my idle speed controller, I bypassed it. I didn't want to bother troubleshooting it, so I actually hacksawed off the one barb port right here, where my thumb is, and you can still see the other very corroded port right there as well. So that's just to show you there. And here's the throttle body. Right. There's the vacuum barbs at the top as well, and then you also have the heater lines here at the bottom there as well as here. They'd be somewhat tricky to remove since I have bypassed my idle speed control valve. I have the tap that comes out of the head, which you can see way right down through there. I've just loomed it, and then it normally tucks up right underneath here, and I gave myself plenty of room to reach. And then here's the other one, which also has enough room to actually move it. So there's a lot of slack, just to make it easier for installation and removal. And here we can actually see the fuel rail. Normally, according to the TSRM, at this point you would just need to unhook the feed, the return, and the cold start injector, and the 3 mounting bolts that are here, here, and here, and then simply just pull the fuel rail off. However, I'm having problems with it leaking, actually from injector number 2, this one right here. So I'm actually going to remove the lower manifold, or the upper manifold, which you can see I already have some of the bolts off here, here, and then The last one that I'm working on is here and there, but there are also bolts that are underneath the manifold as well. If you look right there, there's some of the ones that are hidden underneath the very bottom as well. So, as you can see here, I've already removed the throttle lever, which goes to the throttle body, as well as removed the upper intake pipe, as well as my temp sensor, so that it won't pull on it. So yeah, so we'll be removing the upper intake plenum in order to better get at the fuel rail and pull these injectors out and lubricate them with petroleum jelly in hopes that they'll seal. Alright, here we can see the lower to upper intake manifold bolt configuration. You have a nut on either end. You have the two that are in the middle between intake pair 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6. And we also have the 3 bolts that are on the bottom. Here you can see I've went ahead and labeled my injectors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I've also unhooked the feed and return line, as well as the cold start injector. And I've also lowered the intake manifold as well. And you can see here, we've got a little bit of dirt down in here, but not a whole lot. Just some real small debris sitting down in the lower manifold. Normally these don't look that clean. After a year or so of running, they will look dirtier. But I recently just had this apart about a week ago to clean it.